and good evening, and welcome to the Tuesday edition of The Shed. Hashtag Irish Bulls Mafia with me, Trevor. You're very welcome along to the show. Tonight we're going to look back at Week 9 in the NFL and talk about the games that went by and also about the Buffalo Bills' brilliant victory against the Miami Dolphins last Sunday. So you're very welcome along to the show. There's a lot of trades going on. This trade deadline I think is finishing now in about 2 or 3 minutes. From what I can gather, it's 4 o'clock, I think, Eastern time in the US, that it's finishing up today. And there's been a few trades going on. I don't think the Bills are doing anything. I just seen a rumor, but it was only a rumor there, that they were looking at someone. I'm not going to say who because it's probably false when it's this close to the end, just before I come on the show. So we'll see what happens. If anything happens during the show, we'll cover it again on Thursday night. But there has been a few trades today and a few shockers and a few not really surprising players moving on to different teams. But these things happen as trade deadline, and that's when the fun is. So we'll go back and we'll talk about the week gone by in the NFL. So we'll start off on the Thursday night where the Houston Texans went to the New York Jets. Now the Texans were 6-2 at the time and the Jets were 2-6. So, like myself, a lot of people had the Texans winning this game. It didn't turn out that way. The Jets won 21-13. C.J. Stroud apparently had one of his worst games as an NFL quarterback. Aaron Rodgers didn't have a very good first half, but ended up playing very well. But a lot of the talk, and rightly so, was praise for Garrett Wilson's catch when he scored a touchdown. Now, this is not me being bitter in any way, because there's a few little points I'm going to bring up tonight that I'm okay, we're going under the radar, but I think more credit should have been given to Buffalo Bills players. Garrett Wilson's catch was amazing. I'm not questioning it. I'm not saying anything about it. It's not wrong in any way. It was a brilliant catch. He caught it one hand. I see, the Air Jordan logo and the hand is up in the air, and Michael Jordan has spread legs and the whole lot doing a dunk. Well, it's kind of similar, but he's catching the ball. But Keon Coleman had a better catch in my eyes against the Seahawks the week before, because Keon Coleman had a man in his face when Josh Allen threw that ball, and he caught it with one hand. It mightn't look as spectacular as Garrett Wilson's catch, but in my eyes, it was a better catch. Garrett Wilson had his man behind him. And yes, he was that full stretch, and yes, it was a brilliant catch, and no, I'm not dissing it in any way. But give credit where Keon Coleman, his catch, I've watched shows that barely mention it. So, credit where credit is due. Put the two together, and 9 times out of 10, people are going to say Keon Coleman's catch was better than Garrett Wilson's, because he had a man in his face. He had a man that was at him all day in his face. And Keon Coleman that day stood up against the Seahawks and made mincemeat of him. But that's my 2 cents. If you have any different comments, let me know. But anyway, that was that. So the Jets now are 3-6 and the Texans are 6-3. Then we went into Sunday's games. So the first game was the Dallas Cowboys at the Atlanta Falcons. Now the Falcons are moving along nicely. They were 5-3. They won this 27-21. Kirk Cousins is motoring. They're 6-3 now. They're ticking along nicely. They're top of their division. Everything is going well. On the other side, the Dallas Cowboys, well, things ain't getting any better. Dak Prescott is out injured for at least 4 weeks with a hamstring, so they're thinking of putting him on injury reserve. I don't know if they've done it already or not. CeeDee Lamb hurt his shoulder. Don't know if it's right or not. And the next run of games for the Cowboys doesn't get any easier. And they're a team now this season, and Jerry Jones will have to explain for it, is not looking like they're going to even get to the playoffs. The Eagles are ahead of them, well ahead of them. The Commanders are even ahead of the Eagles. So for the Cowboys to make the playoffs, they need to win every game going forward, and I don't see that happening. But time will tell. As for the Falcons, they're motoring along nicely, and Kirk has them motoring, and their players, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, they're playing their game, and their team, as I said at the start of the season, are a dark horse, and nothing is written in stone who's going to win the Super Bowl. We all have our own ideas and our own hopes, but keep an eye on the Falcons. They could go a long way. Then we had the Denver Broncos at the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Broncos were 5-3, as were the Ravens going into this game, but there were two different types of 5-3. The Ravens destroyed them. Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers had a field day. Derrick Henry had a field day, and they won 41-10. And the Broncos now just need to reset and tick and win the games they can win, and hopefully that'll be enough for them to get the playoffs. As for the Baltimore Ravens, well, they've just gone now and covered over the Cleveland Brown loss, and they're back on form again. Then we come to our game, the Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills, and it was a cracker. And we won it 30-27, and we deservedly won it. Now, I'm going to go through the few bits first, and then I'm going to let my gripe go at the end. The first thing I want to do is Tyler Bass. Tyler Bass kicked the winning field goal with 5 seconds left from 61 yards, which is a franchise record. So well done, Tyler. It is a big kick. I think it's the biggest kick he's had since the Kansas City game last year. And yes, he had a missed point at an extra point earlier on in the game, but it shows the man's way of playing, and I have been critical of it, that he does miss kicks. But when it came to it, he kicked it 61 yards, and for me, Tyler, well done, man. I'm delighted for you. Keep it up. I know there's pressure on you there, because I know there's kickers in to keep you under pressure, and I hope that keeps you going, because that was a brilliant kick on Sunday. It was great to see you get the plaudits. It was great to see the crowd cheer for you and support you, and that's what we want for all our players. And I just hope from now on you can kick on and keep the kicking going. So well done, Tyler. Then as for the rest of the game, one other thing I was delighted with was Tua Tagovailoa came through unscathed. He actually had a brilliant game. Like, the Dolphins would have won other games the way they played last Sunday, but they didn't, because we were better. We wanted it more, and we got the win. And I talk about him every week, but I'm going to talk about him now. You got Josh Allen. And Josh Allen was exceptional. There was one interception, really hard to blame him. He got it to Keon Coleman, but it hit Keon Coleman's chest, bounced out, and was caught. It was classed as an interception. So be it. He threw for 3 touchdowns. One was to Ray Davis, one was to Mac Hollins. Both of them, Ray Davis did an amazing run. I think it was a 63-yard run for the touchdown. Mac Hollins caught it in the end zone. But the one to Quinton Morris. Now, I don't know if any other player in the NFL that can do what he did. He was being tackled. He was heading for ground, and yet he got it off, got it to Quinton Morris, and that was a touchdown. Josh Allen, no more than Keon Coleman's catch. Like, I was listening to who is MVP. Now, MVP should have been Josh Allen last year, and I'll say that till I say no more. But this year, you have Lamar Jackson, who's in the running for it, rightly so. You have Jared Goff, rightly so. You have Derrick Henry, rightly so. You have Mahomes been mentioned, even though he's not playing well, because he's Patrick Mahomes. Not rightly so, but he's in it. But no one is talking about Josh Allen. The man has had 2 interceptions, and one was a bounce off a chest, but it's still cast as one. He is playing, he's leading, he is driving our team, he is going to bring us to places where he deserves to be and deserves to get, as this team does. I'm not going to get confident. I'm looking to the next game, and we do that on Thursday night. But last Sunday, when we needed someone to stand up, he was the man to stand up, and he led the team. And how he's not been talked about, Rex Ryan knows. I've seen him on TV. He knows Josh Allen is the man. Now, he might not be the best at everything, but he does know that, and I agree with him. And he gets to say it. But other pundits, no, they don't. So that's fine. Keon Coleman's catch will go under the radar. Josh Allen and the Bills will go under the radar, and we'll tick along. Getting back to the game, Josh had 25 for 39, 235 yards, and 3 touchdown passes. He also had 2 runs for 7 yards. James Cook had a very good game. Had 10 rushes for 44 yards at 4.4 average, and Ray Davis had 4 for 20 yards at 5 yards average. but Ray Davis had two receptions out of two. One was for 63 yards and it was a touchdown. Quinton Morris had a touchdown. Cahill Shakir had 6 from 7 receiving. Like, he is awesome. Cahill Shakir, one of my favourite players. Mac Hollins had 5 from 5, 30 yards, 1 touchdown. Well done, Mac. It's great to see you stand up. James Cook had 5 from 6 and 25 yards. So, like, it's great to see these guys ticking along. Keon Coleman, yes, the ball hit his chest, bounced out for interception. These things happen. But Keon Coleman caught the 2-point attempt, caught it well. Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox, they did all right. They wasn't their more productive games, but the other players stood up. And they'll stand up when other players don't. So this is the part of a team. Gregory Rousseau had the sack. That was the only time we got to Tua. There was a punch out, but that wasn't on him, that we got the turnover. But our defense played okay. They played a very good Dolphins offense. You had Jalen Waddle, you had Tyreek Hill, you had Mozart, you had Achan, and you had the most important part of this whole thing for the Dolphins, Tua. And I am delighted to see Tua back. We're finished with them now for the year. We don't have to worry about them again. We've beat them twice. I just wish Tua good health and that he can play on and enjoy his season and make a decision then at the end what he wants to do. As for the Dolphins, I said this when I watched Hard Knocks, and I was talking to Dolphins fans the time I was up in Crow Park. Mike McDaniels is not a head coach. He's a kiss my backside man who talks the talk but doesn't walk the walk. And again, Sunday, they had a chance to beat the Bills. They had, and they didn't take it. And it's down to him. And how many times has he let that happen before? So if I was a Dolphins fan, I'd be looking for the end of the season to happen and a full changeover. But I'm not a Dolphins fan, so I don't care. Then we move on to the Saints at the Panthers. Now, I had a funny feeling the Panthers might do something. But I was thinking that Andy Dalton might be back. But Bryce Young came in, and fair play to Bryce Young, the 123-22. He gets the victory. And I'm actually delighted for Bryce Young as well, because the guy's under an awful lot of pressure. As for the Saints, well, Dennis Allen got sacked afterwards. Chris Olave is injured. Now, I think it was wrongly done the way they kind of blamed Derek Carr for the pass that caused Chris Olave's injury. But fair play to Derek Carr. He came on and he dealt with it. And he spoke through it correctly, and I could only admire the way, like, he must have some very tough feelings inside from losing the game, from seeing his player get injured, and the media go and fire shots at him straight away, and he dealt with it very well and handled it very well. So I know Derek Carr didn't get the win, but fair play for the way he handled things, Derek. Then we had the Raiders at the Bengals. The Bengals won 41-24. Joey B, I call him, 5 passing touchdowns. If this guy had a defense, this would be a team I would be very much afraid of, because this man is playing awesome stuff. He's played it the last number of weeks. All they don't have is a defense that can help him. If they get that right, they might scrape into the playoffs. The Thursday night's game is huge. I think it's the Ravens are playing. If they lose that, their season's over, because they ain't going to get the playoffs then. If they win that, then all bets are off. So we'll see how things go on Thursday night. But this is a man underneath Josh Allen that's going quietly and not been mentioned about MVP. And if his defense is different and they had different stats, he would be. But Joey Burrow is playing absolutely savage football. Then we had the Chargers at the Browns. So the Chargers won 27-10. It was a good win for them. Jameson Winston was back to his old self. There was a blip, how well he played against the Ravens. But the Browns are in disarray. And I still listen to some Browns podcasts. I listen to the Orange and Browns podcast just to see how delusional they are about different things, because they were delusional enough to take Deshaun Watson. And they still think that if Deshaun Watson gets fit, that he may come back next year and he may lead them to the promised land. Well, I see a few pigs flying around there. No, I don't, because it ain't going to happen. Deshaun Watson, I'm not going to say a lot about him off the field, but on the field, is gone. when he took his year out of Houston, when he went on strike, he lost all his edge. The Browns were silly enough to pay for him, leave out the off the field stuff. They brought in a footballer that hadn't played for a year, then got suspended. And what did they expect? Give him the biggest contract in football at the time and expected him to deliver on what he was 18 months previous to that. Wasn't going to happen. So, as I said to you before, I'm nearly 50 years of age. Up here, I can play football as good as any man. But from here down, I can't. And it's the same with him as a footballer. When you miss time and you miss football, you ain't going to play football the way you used to. And you have to have the hunger, and he doesn't have the hunger because he's got well-paid, guaranteed money, and he doesn't give a damn. That's all I'm going to say. As for the Chargers, they move on. They're 5-3. Themselves and the Broncos, they're going to fight out between see who's going to get second in the AFC East, and then we'll see will they get to the playoffs or not. Then we had the Commanders of the Giants, and this wasn't the best game of football, even though it was 27-22, but Jaden Daniels led the Commanders to a good victory. They moved on to 7-2. Daniel Jones and Brian Dable and so on are in big trouble in New York because it's 2-7 now there. And I've listened to another podcast today. The quarterbacks that's coming out of college this year aren't as good as the quarterbacks that came out of college last year in their eyes. So for the Giants to find a quarterback to replace Daniel Jones is going to be very interesting as the months go by and into next year, and we see what happens because they can't go forward with him. I'd like to see Daniel Jones do well. Maybe he would do well at some other team. I don't know. Maybe the pressure in New York is getting to him, but he did throw his first touchdown in MetLife Stadium for 2 years. Just if give me a chance, I'd have a go at it too. But anyway, the Giants are in bother, and the Commanders move on to 7-2, and they're flying. Then we had the Patriots at the Titans. Now, this is a game of 2-6 against 1-6 before the day started. It was 17-20. The Titans won in overtime. But the big play was, and I have to give credit, Drake May. They were 17-10 down. There was a few seconds left. The ball was snapped in the fourth quarter. No seconds left. He held on. He did a kind of a Jaden Daniel from the week before, but he was a lot closer. It wasn't a Hail Mary. He found his man. It went into overtime. The Titans kicked a field goal to go 2017 up. He got the ball. Unfortunately, with time running out, he fired a long one as a Hail Mary, and it was intercepted. So the Titans win, and they go to 2-6, where the Patriots are 2-7 in themselves, and the Giants now are battling for first pick next year. Then we had the Chicago Bears at the Cardinals. The Cardinals won 29-9. Now, there's two sides of the story. Kyler Murray and co are flying, and the Cardinals now are pushing on to, in fairness to them, try and win the division and, if not, get a wild card position in the NFC. And I think there could be a team that you could have to watch for in it. The Bears, when Matty Eberflus is now on the hot seat because they ain't ticking, and 9 points against the Cardinals team who don't have the best defense in football, and Caleb Williams and co didn't look anything at the races. And I don't know, there could be another head coach, watching over his shoulder now because they gave him everything. They got him the rookie quarterback, number 1 pick Caleb Williams. Jaden Daniels was sitting there. Look at this man at Washington. He has no fear. He is doing the biz. So the Bears' next 2 games are very important, and for Matt Eberflus and for their season. They're 4-4 now, so it'll be interesting to see how they continue on. Then we have the Jaguars at the Eagles. The Eagles won 28-23. The Jaguars put up a good old fight. But the big play for the day was the Saquon Barkley swivel, and then swivel jump. I cannot do it here, so I'm not going to try. But if you get a chance to watch any of the videos or clips on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, please do. Sometimes you just have to give credit to players where credit is due, and the way he went one way, went the other, and then did a 180-degree turn, jump over a man, and then got tackled. But the jump was awesome, and well played, Saquon. The Eagles are 6-2 now. They're motoring nicely. They're a game behind the Commanders. it'll come down to will Sirianni blow it or not. Because right now they're playing good football. They have done since the Cleveland game. So well done, the Eagles. Well done, Saquon Barkley. It'll be interesting to see can they continue it on. Then we had one of the big games of the year so far. It was the NFC North battle between the 6-1 Lions against the 6-2 Packers at Lambeau Field. It was the Lions' first game out of a dome all year. It was raining. It was horrible. Everything pointed to a Packers win on the day. Jordan Love and Co couldn't get it done. The Lions won it very handy. Now, it finished 24-14 to the Lions, but they were 24-3 up, I think, at one stage. And, they went for plays. There was a fourth down in the second quarter where they could have just taken a field goal, and they went for it. This team right now is one of the hottest teams in the NFL. Right now is good, but you need to be hot come January, February time. So we'll see can they continue it on. So far, Dan Campbell has them ticking. Jared Goff, he is playing MVP style football. Montgomery is playing well. Gibbs is playing well. Amon-Ra St. Brown is playing well. They are looking to strengthen their defense, and I think they made a trade today, but I'll check that out later. They are one of the hottest teams now in football at the minute. As for the Packers, they're going to have to go and reboot. It was a bad loss. They will have another shot at the Lions later on, but they're going to have to play an awful lot better to challenge this Detroit Lions team at the minute. Then we had the Los Angeles Rams at the Seattle Seahawks. And the Seahawks started the season 3-0. They are now 4-5 because they lost 20-26. The Rams are now 4-4, and they're a team now that looks like that they'll push the Cardinals and the 49ers in the division. They will push them. And Matthew Stafford has Puka back. Now, as far as I know, he was ejected out of the game for punching a player. And these things do happen, but Cooper Kupp is back. Their running game is getting better. Their defense is getting better. And they're not another team no more than the Cardinals that you need to watch. As for the Seahawks, I just think now the season is over. Geno Smith and Co can just play out and win a game here and there. I don't think they'll get to the playoffs. Sorry for you. I just think their goose is cooked. Then we had the Indianapolis Colts at the Vikings. I did think that Joe Flacco coming in might make the Colts the team that would win because the Vikings had lost 2 in a row and their wheels were kind of coming off. Defense was letting a lot of scores in, but the Vikings won 21-13. Sam Darnold and Co played well, Justin Jefferson. And the Indianapolis Colts couldn't get things going, even with Joe Flacco quarterback. Now, will they keep Joe Flacco quarterback? I don't know. Going forward, has Anthony Richardson learned his lesson, or this is his lesson for the season? Sit there and watch Joe play. We will see. But the Colts now, we're playing them this weekend, so we have to go in there. They'll be looking to bounce back, and we'll be looking to push them down. So we'll see how this game goes. We'll talk about it Thursday night. But the Vikings are back now. They're now 6-2, and they're ticking along nicely, and they're second in the division, and they'll soon have the Lions coming up. Then we had the Monday Night Football, which was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Kansas City Chiefs. This game went to overtime. It was 24-all. It was a cracker of a game. I only seen highlights of it now because I couldn't stay up last night. But DeAndre Hopkins, who signed from the Titans, 2 touchdowns, had made one massive play when they were 3rd and 8. He really looks dangerous. So he does, and he's playing well. Kareem Hunt came back. He played very well. Travis Kelce had 14 out of 16 catches, 100 yards. They're starting to tick. Now, I had to laugh and showed it today, the toss of the coin for the overtime. Baker Mayfield was out with Mahomes. And once Baker seen Mahomes win it, that was it. He knew the game was over. But you see his head going back and Mahomes smiles. The Chiefs are 8-0. Will they go undefeated? Time will tell. And they have to come to our house. So we'll see how that goes. That's in a few weeks. But right now, they are playing a bit better. They're still undefeated. They're going to be very hard. And you have to give credit where credit is due. They're the team to beat. So if you're going to win a Super Bowl, you have to topple them and you have to go through them. And only time will tell who's going to do that. Hopefully it's us, but time will tell. I'm only looking one game ahead at a time. And they were the games of the weekend. Um, it was an interesting set of games and fixtures. And out of the 15 games, my predictions, I got 13 right. So that's my second time getting 13 this year. So I'm happy enough with that. Well, I'm delighted with that. The competition is going nicely. I'll have the scores updated tomorrow, and the players that are playing will know. But I'm still a good bit behind the top guys in that. But 13 goes a long way to catching up. So that's my video for tonight, folks. On Thursday night, I look ahead at Week 10 fixtures. We'll talk about the Colts game and the Bills a bit more. If there's any major trades coming up between the video and how or what has happened so far today, I'll mention them on the video on Thursday night. If you want to contact me in any way, you get me on Instagram and Facebook at the Irish Bills Mafia. YouTube is at the Irish Bills Mafia, and X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, is at Bills_Irish. I've just put up a few pictures to show I have updated the shed from the trip to Buffalo, and I have my trip to London, and I have a few other memories, and to Crow Park. And I have one or two more pictures to go up that I'll put up tomorrow. But it's taking shape now, so I'm pretty happy with it, and it has a lot of very happy memories here so far. So it's been good. So that's my video for tonight. Look at folks, I shall talk to you on Thursday night, please God. Please all stay safe, stay happy, stay together. And as always, my friends, go Bills.